Today's episode of DRL is brought to you by Hella Cocktail Company. My guests don't just come to DRL for me. They also come for the cocktails. Luckily, my friends at Hella Cocktail Company have my back. These guys make amazing mixes, from Bloody Mary to Margarita to Moscow Mule. They also make cocktail bitters, my secret ingredient, and now yours too. It's easy to feel like the best bartender in town when every bottle comes with a simple recipe on it. Hella Cocktail Company, bold flavor, real ingredients, hospitality. Mixing it up since 2011. Shop the collection on Amazon Prime or use code DRL online at hellacocktail.co for free shipping. Hello, my lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of DRL, where we're talking everything dating, relationships, and love. I'm your host, Tennesha Wood. My guest is Bryan from Bryan the series. He was on episode 3 of this season. He had a lot of good things to say, so I have him back to get his opinions on some other stuff. You're what, 30 now?
Oh, don't be saying that out
You
loud.
just turned 30.
My government age? Don't be telling them my government age. Yeah, I just turned 30 last week.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, press the applause button on that. I don't know.
Round
30
of
was a
applause.
relief, yeah.
Make that 30 clap.
No.
So let's say you've been dating for about 15 years. What do you feel like has changed over those 15 years that you've been dating? Do you think that gender roles have changed significantly?
Well, frame of reference is big for me because, all right, if it's been 15 years and I'm 30, when I'm 15, nobody knows what they're talking about. They just know what they've been told.
Right.
So some people never grow out of that. Some people are never not doing what they were supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. So their way of thinking about what their partner should be doing is just, well, this is how my mama did and my dad did. Or it's like, this is what worked, et cetera, et cetera. So I say that to say, at 13 or 14, 15, 16, when you're in those teenager stage, you don't really know what you're doing. So
you're just going by the script at that point.
You kind of find out what you don't like. Mm-hmm. So you may not know what it's really like, because who's really going on the same? You're not going on the same dates at 28 that you were at 15. Like 15 right. is like, I hope we can go to the movies. Right. 28, it's like, you taking me to the movies? That's what she said. I've been to the movie like 1,000.
Well, a movie isn't a good date, though.
Now that you're 28, you know what I'm saying?
Because I want to talk to people.
Exactly.
I don't want to spend 2 hours just sitting next to you.
You don't know that at 13.
Right.
You're just like, I like her. Let's go to the movies.
Right.
So I would think that.
But the activities have changed. But have the roles changed?
Not really. If they are, it's been reluctant on both sides. Mm-hmm. But it's been an acceptance. So I think it used to be it would be an exception to see. It still is an exception, but it would be an exception to see like women being forthright, being the hunter, being the one that pursues. It would be like very few and far between. It still is, but we kind of understand why that is better.
Are you taken back when that does happen to you?
No, I welcome it. I really appreciate it when it does happen. I'm not taken aback. I might only be taken aback by tactic, but that's kind of anyone. Like somebody who's bold, they're just bold. If you're a regular dude, unless you just are like gorgeous, you don't really find women being too bold in how they're going to shoot their shot.
But how do you take it if a woman comes right up to you and is just like, hey, I like you, or I think you're attractive, I want to go out tomorrow night?
It's kind of like I pause for a second, like, wait a minute, where are the cameras?
You got punked. Ashton Kutcher's coming out.
I like when I was younger, like when I was a teenager, I would go look at her friends. Because if her friends are laughing, this is a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like but that's what I'm saying. This is another thing about, like, this is a cultural thing. I grew up in Philly. So in Philly, girls were aggressive and it didn't really matter.
So they would do that.
And when you were a teenager.
Right.
So like I was 16 and I'd be in the mall or just walking down the street or something, and a girl would be like, she think you cute.
Right.
And then they go, no, she's being shot.
No, I didn't say that. No.
So like it's not her shooting her shot. It's her saying, "Oh, he's cute," and then her friend comes over and goes, "She thinks you cute. Her over there in the red. Her, go talk to her." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go talk to her. Her name is?" You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, "All right." I'm being dragged by my ear. I'm like, y'all like each other, right? I guess. However, as I got older, of course, it happened less and less, and I just noticed the patterns being different and women being approachable and wanting me to approach them or not, and just body language type things. But when it does happen, one thing that happens, it doesn't happen in person as much.
So it happens online a lot?
It used to happen, let's say my early 20s, through a friend. So like, "Oh, such and such asked about you."
So it was never direct. It was
never
always.
direct. It was always.
Let me have a layer in between me.
It was like some House of Cards shit. It would be like, okay, so I'm your friend Tennesha. You have a friend Ashley.
Right.
I meet Ashley over here. We all hang out. We go our separate ways. Ashley never engages me directly about her interests. The next time I see Tennesha, she goes, "So Ashley asked about you. So Ashley wants to know blah, 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 blah." And I'm just like, "Okay, well, tell Ashley."
Because it puts a layer in there of so you can't get rejected as easily.
It's like trying to get an interview with the president.
Right,
Like,
it's a layer of protection.
It's because none of us can handle rejection. Men just get tasked with it. And we can't handle it at all.
Do you approach women directly?
Absolutely.
So what do you say when you go up and you approach a woman?
The approach changes.
Okay, so let's just say, going to do a little reenactment here.
Oh boy!
So
it's always situation based. And like,
well, I'm going to tell you the situation.
Oh, no.
So we're at a nice wine bar. I'm drinking Malbec.
I hate improv class. So let's just
no, we're going to do it. You're an actor. I'm giving you your scene.
And I'm an actor who hates improv.
Okay,
class.
So we're at.
She actually has wine in her hand at the table. Do it.
This is going to be realistic. So we're at a bar. It's a nice wine bar. You're there by yourself.
Why?
Because you had a show.
Because I'm a man who needs to find the right woman for him.
No.
So this is where I go.
No, so you were at a show next door, and your show finished up early, and you're meeting some friends later on in the area. So you just thought you would go next door and check out this wine bar that you've been meaning to check out.
Oddly specific.
So anyway.
This is her diary, y'all. Like, come on. What is this?
Dear diary, today at the wine bar.
And you meet a girl, her name's Takesha.
So you're sitting at the bar. You order a glass of Cabernet. You notice a woman next to you.
Okay.
She's by herself. She's drinking a glass of wine. And you look over and you're like, damn, she's kind of fine.
Damn, girl, that ass fat.
So then what do you do?
If I'm sitting at a bar, it's a little different because you also got to survey the scene. That's just common sense, no matter if there's women there or not. I've been in sports bars with there's nothing but dudes and we're just watching a game and I'm meeting my friends. Because I think a lot of hints that people don't pick up on, and I guess we can get into relying on hints in later. But one of the things are people sit different ways. So you're looking at just people's body language and who's there.
So her arms are uncrossed.
There's still my boyfriend's in the bathroom sit y'all have. Y'all just sit in a way where my legs are really crossed, my posture's really straight. I'm waiting on someone. Please don't talk to me.
But let's say she has none of that going on.
She has none of that
She
going
just has
on.
very
So
open body language. She's, kind of sitting out a little bit, not necessarily straightforward. She's looking around.
She's drinking wine.
She's drinking Malbec. You're drinking a cab. Remember your scene.
Oh my God. She's drinking Malbec. All right, so then it's really as simple as, you introduce yourself over what y'all are drinking.
Okay, so go ahead.
No. What do you mean? You want me to you want me to say what I'm going to say to you?
Yeah, Bryan, we try to help people on DRL. There is somebody out there who is listening that is like, I don't know how to approach women correctly. Help a brother out.
But that's the thing. Nothing I'm going to give is correct.
But it works.
You're asking
Does it work?
Usually.
Okay, so it might work for somebody else.
But you got to go. Okay, so you got to go into it being ready to be rejected, and that just be the thing. You bear the brunt of that.
Wait, so do you think to yourself, in the moment? Like,
no, because I mean, well, I have.
So what do you mean you got to get ready to be rejected?
I'm talking about no matter what the situation is. If you're going to speak to someone about something, you know what I'm saying? You just got to be ready to get rejected. And in this situation, it's not necessarily romantic yet, but it is. You're going to talk to a woman for a purpose. Like y'all don't have a midterm together. So you just got to bear in mind that that's probably likely. So,
okay, I'm still sitting at the bar with open body language. So what do you say?
I think the first thing, of course, is you always introduce yourself because, you know.
Hi, I'm Tennesha.
No. So you're speaking to me.
Well, I'm waiting for you to start.
Hi, I'm Bryan.
I'm Tennesha.
Oh, Lord. No, you know that's not what you would say next.
That is what I would say. I would say, hi, I'm Tennesha.
Oh, God. Okay.
I promise you I would say, hi, I'm Tennesha.
You actually had to put me in the scene now.
Okay, so we're in the bar. It's dimly lit. I have the Malbec. You have the cab. I have open body language. You've just walked in. You've just finished a comedy show next door. You've never been into this bar. And go.
This is a wine bar?
It's a wine bar. But you've been in this neighborhood for a while. You've been going to the club next door to perform, and you've seen this wine bar, but you've never been in. And go.
Oh my God! I can't believe you're making me do this. This is not anything what you emailed me.
I didn't know. I don't have a script either, Bryan.
Oh my God!
You know I don't do DRL on script.
Yeah, I found that out right now, and it's too late. You want me to tell you what I'm going to say, or
it's a scene. You're approaching me in a bar. What would you naturally and normally do? I'm just trying to provide instructional guides for people here.
Okay, so you want me to do this for the guys out there?
Yes, because some do not know how it's done. And I know this because women tell me all the time, like, and then he approached me with some BS, or he approached me like this. So It is very much about the approach, and there is a right way to do it and a very wrong way to do it.
I don't know about that.
There is a wrong way to do it. There's an absolute wrong way to do it. So we'll get to the wrong after we get to the right, though.
Well, I was going to... Okay, never mind. Yeah, I guess in this situation, there's a wrong way to do it because setting matters, too.
Yes.
You can get on my nerves. All right, so I've introduced myself. I'm going to tell you why I'm over here, how I noticed you.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, I'm not doing this because right now you have on a Cheerio shirt. And you want me to lie and put on a different shirt in my head that you don't have on.
The shirt would be a conversation point. Like, wouldn't you be like...
That's a little corny sometimes.
I mean, not like, oh, I love Cheerios, but like you would... I feel like you would make a joke about the shirt.
I feel like that's expected. Because people watch too many damn movies, right? And then...
So you wouldn't do the expected? You wouldn't talk about the shirt?
Not next. I'm in someone else's face. Mm-hmm. And right here, I got like 4 to 5 seconds to say something that makes her like not want me to get out her face.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, okay, I responded because I'm being nice and I don't want to be cursed out or anything like that. Anything that comes with the negative, like I said hi. That's all I said was hi.
Right.
Don't make me regret saying hi, nigga. That's the next. So if that's the advice, if you want to give that, like, don't make her regret saying hi. Not even though like saying hi is what's expected, but the next thing that can happen here can get ugly. So obviously, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to introduce myself, how I noticed you, and then it's why I'm here. Who, what, when, where, why. It's very simple. It's not really like I come with no pretenses, so I don't have like a script. Do
you do a close, for lack of a better term, in the moment? Meaning, do you end the conversation with, I'd like to get your number, I'd like to see you again, or do you sort of gauge where she's at?
No, you're over there for a reason. The thing about it is y'all both know, for the most part, like, I only find that it's really like oblivious women that just don't understand like why this guy's here. Mm-hmm. Part of that is the annoyance with it. So I'd be like, you have to be over here for a reason. So you have to at least at that point Unless the conversation, like, you just got shot down, then there's no point. But some people are like, I'm going to give this one Herculean more effort. Like, I'm going to try again.
But you know what? I'm a friendly, like, person when I'm out the house. Mm-hmm. So meaning, like, if somebody comes over to me and they're just like, hey, I'm Bryan, and, like, starts a conversation with me, just because I'm not interested, I'm not actually going to stop the conversation if I find the person interesting. So
but I said how I noticed you, and you're sparking up a conversation about the interest. Like, I'm over here for a reason,
right?
So that's why I said you also have to bear in mind you're likely to get rejected because everybody's not going to be interested in you,
right?
No matter how good you look, like whatever the attractive things we find about each other.
But I'm just saying, sometimes a conversation doesn't always mean interest or doesn't always equate to interest. Because,
absolutely.
Like, I'm a friendly person and a guy might say something stupid, but I'm like, I don't really care because I don't want him like that anyway. But he seems to be having interesting conversations, so I'll carry on the conversation. And then a half hour later, I'm like, I gotta go. My boyfriend's calling.
Exactly. So at that point, what you're doing is you're finding out. I mean, you can still have a conversation. Like, I've tried to talk to women and they told me they have a boyfriend and we just finish the conversation we were having. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that anything else is going to happen, but, you know, I got rejected, but I came over here with conversation. Mm-hmm. I didn't come over here like, yo, where your man at? Right. Because now it's like, he's over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? So you got a man. Now it's like you're doing things that aren't conversational. You treat it just like any other time you're introducing yourself. I think about it in the same way that I'm like, all right, just think about any time someone's introduced themselves to you and it's weird. Like, yo, imagine you come out the store. Mm-hmm. with a pack of Reese's, and another nigga walks up to you like, "Yo, can I get one?" You're gonna be like, "Is this nigga crazy? Do you want to die?" You're like, "What is up with you? Why are you on my shoulder, following me? Yo, can I get? Oh, you can't speak? Oh man." So that's what I'm saying. If you approach a conversation and you're ready to be rejected, it's kind of like whatever anxiety is coming out of that. Because that's a lot of it. It's just like pent up. When they in the movies, they usually show the guy's about to walk over and zooms in on his face, and he's got all these thoughts going through his head. I mean, I guess that's a real feeling. That's not something that I would say I don't feel, because it's kind of like it's like double dutch, like or you're jumping in the pool. You're just in the air, and the next thing you're going to hit is water. Mm-hmm. Like, this is it. Either I sink or I swim. So. It's a fight or flight reaction, and some people's fight or flight causes them to get nasty with people. Mm-hmm. Some people's fight or flight causes them to freeze up. So that's when you see ha. And she's just looking at you like, damn, this nigga's an idiot. He was cute, now he's an idiot. Now
shouldn't open his mouth.
So that's why I'm like, you have to just go ready. Like, all right, I'm going to start a conversation with this person. Sometimes it's nothing there. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes there's nothing there, and it doesn't even mean she's not interested. Sometimes there's nothing there, and it's because she's shutting that off. Right. She's like, I can't even get into this with you. This is a nice conversation, but I don't even really want you to get the wrong impression here. And I'm like, I respect that. I respect that. But it's all there. So it's like, a lot of niggas make up a hint.
Like how?
Miss the hint and overcompensate for the hint they missed. Oh, that was my chance. Oh, that was it. And you see that in TV and movies all the time. Dude, she totally wants me. Like, if I'm already coming to approach you and your body language is open and you're drinking wine, I'm going to see it shut off somewhere. Right. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to finish the conversation. I might cut it short. I might, if you're actually being receptive and you're talking back, it's kind of like, all right, well, you're being cordial. Mm-hmm. I came over here with cordiality too. Right. So, all right, let's just leave even. Because even though you rejected me, you got to think about it as you're not leaving with a loss. You just didn't get it right there. Because unlike Lil Wayne, you can't fuck every girl in the world.
Now, Bryan, you don't online date. Is that intentional? Or you don't use apps or anything like that?
At this point, it is. I don't have any real hang-ups about it. But at this point, I'm just kind of like, once it's become a thing, I don't know if I want to join it. I just haven't done it. Had no real desire to do it, even casually. And then I'm kind of just in that now. Like I could online date. I could probably do it if I wanted to. I just never really have yet. So like I downloaded Tinder and was like, I just don't like the app.
This app sucks.
Yeah, I just don't like the app. It wasn't anything like, oh, the girls on there suck, bro. Ugh. I was just kind of like, I don't know, this is corny.
So how do you meet women primarily?
Out and about, street harassment. Through friends, at functions, events I go to, comedy, things like that.
Okay. Are you dating anybody right now?
No.
Why you say it like that? He had a whole face thing, and I was like,
I just make a lot of faces.
It looked like this.
No, it was just me thinking like, no, I'm not. But I never really thought about it.
Now that you've hit 30, do you feel like I should meet somebody, or I should be in something exclusive, or what like has turning 30 changed anything in dating for you, or the way you see things?
I always have had a heterosexual pressure to like think about marriage and think about it seriously.
From who?
Just in general, my dad. Not even like just being around as heterosexual. It's just kind of like you don't live on this world by yourself, so you're going to look at people and things and situations around you and go, okay, how does that reflect on me?
Right.
Or my friend is getting married. You know, all that is pressured on people different ways, and they respond to it different ways. But I don't necessarily think about it any differently than I did, because the situation hasn't really changed. I'm just older. So, you know, I think this question would better be revisited if I get wealthy. Like, so you got some money now. You got some more shit to lose. What you think about getting married?
But do you think that it would change if... Okay, so back in the day, there was a whole structure set up for marriage. So one of the reasons that men really felt this pressure to do well at work was to be able to establish a family later on. So it was, okay, well, you go to work, you get this corporate job,
I get you.
You climb the ladder because, you know, you're going to have to take care of a family or be the head of a household. So there was sort of pressure to do well on both sides to succeed on the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, married men, like, they do better at work. So like you get you a good wife that can help you, and then you climb this and you do that. Do you think that like things are changing? Like a lot of people aren't necessarily doing a corporate thing anymore. A lot of people are creative like you, where they're like, hey, like I'm following my vision and my dream. And, you know, you're not, I don't think right now anyway, in the mental space where you're like, oh, I'm preparing for my future wife and kids.
Well,
or does that pop into your mind in what you're doing for work and creatively? Like, is that a part of the plan or the goal? Are you thinking about marriage?
I still file it under the same pressure I was talking about earlier, because it's about, like, you know, family and name rights and all that stuff and lineage. And you're just thinking also about what you're leaving behind, things like that. And everyone thinks like that, I think, on some level. So how much that matters to you may change, increase, or decrease the pressure. I think also that with those things going on, I do think about them. Again, I don't know if it necessarily has changed any of my conclusions about anything, but I do understand them. So I don't really get too bent out of shape about it. So I also got to look in real time, again, frame of reference things. All right, marriage. Back then, what was their frame of reference? Back then, what were they looking at as the history of marriage here?
Right.
The history of marriage, and then you can get even more specific. You can zoom in even further. What is the history of marriage of men in my family? What keeps happening? Is my uncle on his fourth wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real now. You just got that uncle that keeps getting married. You're just like,
he won't give up.
What have you not learned? Like, and then you have, you know, I have people in my family, they were divorced 2 times, and he's like, I believe in marriage even stronger now. And I get it. I understand why he says it, because it's like, I made the wrong decision now twice, maybe. It didn't work out for me twice, but I really get what this is now. So there's a lot of variables to that. I don't know how much of that applies, but I also have to think about the women I'm dating versus the women they were dating.
The men they were dating?
Yeah. Like the men in my family, the men in my city, the men in my... Like, what were the men they were dating different women. So I got to factor that in, unless I'm specifically looking for a woman that's like what they were dating. And then I got to factor in what's that come with, what's the pros and cons of that. So that's what I'm saying. I think about it. I understand it. It doesn't change how much of a want it is for me. It doesn't really factor in how much I make my daily decisions. But I do think about what it will all mean later on. So I don't think it pressures me with women. I don't think it does that with me.
So you don't feel any sort of like, oh my God, I got to get married before I'm like 35 or 40, or I'm trying to have kids, so I got to get on this soon, or I got to make this a life priority or focus in the near future?
I prioritize it. It's just not above certain things. So, the need for a family doesn't supersede the need for things to be stable. So I'm not like so stuck on the idea of like a white picket dream that I can't really manage my relationships with people right because they're not fitting into that the way I want them to.
Right.
So I'm not trying to change people because I have a checklist and now my clock is ticking. It's like I'm 32 now. I'm not doing that because you don't actually have interactions with people that way.
Right.
People don't fixture in your life as relationships now. They're fixture in your life as a part of a checklist. Got the husband. Got the job. And you're just marking things off. It's like everybody's playing a role. And scene, you jump in, you're the husband, house here. Husband might as well be a faceless soup. Like, it's like, all right, cool. Now I can have 3 kids and name 2 girls. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I wanted this all my life.
Do you feel like women you date, do they bring this up frequently?
I talk about this. Not frequently. Actually, let me not say that. Some more frequently than others. I ain't getting no text. Like, what? No, some more frequently than others. But some, I know what I'm getting myself into when I get in all these situations because I'm very like clear and self-aware about what I'm doing. So when conversations come up, depending on the type of girl I'm talking to, I'm kind of like, yeah, she should have brought that up by now. The type of girl she is, she wouldn't let this. She wouldn't let 6 months pass by without bringing something up. She ain't spending the night twice without a where is this going? Like, yeah. So I don't just be like, oh, God damn it, she's tripping.
I'm just going to prepare you. You're going to probably hear that a lot more. You're 30-something now.
I know that, too.
Where's this going?
I'm prepared for the pressure, but I'm also prepared for the conversation. If you're not prepared for the conversation to possibly be in a different direction than you were thinking, not even necessarily me opposing you, because I don't want this to sound like I oppose all these ideas. I don't oppose them. I just oppose them as in and of themselves. Like, I just have to get married. I just have to have a family. Like, I don't think that's what I have to do.
So what do you think the biggest challenge is right now for you in dating?
I don't know yet. I haven't really been trying, but no, I'm so serious. I don't know. I'm not really out trying to meet a lot of women, but I guess when I do, it's getting used to not all the ways that we've spread out communication and their different effect on different people. To clarify what I mean, there are women who don't like talking on the phone at all.
At this point, anybody under 30, it's like an insult to call. I don't know what's up with y'all.
So I like talking on the phone. I'm fine with that. Like, it's probably what I'm going to do first. Wow,
you're a millennial that will actually call people?
I prefer it.
Look at you.
I still remember being on the house phone for like 3 hours. Those and talking about everything. Like your feet are up on the wall, your mom's picking up the phone. I need to use this phone. Y'all been talking for 2.5 hours now. Y'all tying up my line. You're just like, that's my like a dag, Mom.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
Yeah. So what would you do if I was there right now?
Like right now.
Oh, for real? Okay. But no, I just remember that, like, most of the friends I've had most of my life, even them, it don't got to be romantic. I've been able to talk to them on the phone for like 2 hours about anything, like from Kanye to, you know what I'm saying, which Disney movie is our favorite. Like, those are the conversations I sprawl across. I find it harder to have those conversations through text initially. So even then, people don't like people texting them now.
So if you can't call people and you can't text them, how are we supposed to get a hold of each other?
This is a man's world.
Is there a new way that people are communicating?
Okay, so imagine my surprise as a man. I'm just like, wait, what? So no, I'm telling you, there's some girls that are like, DM me. There's some people that only speak to each other on specific social networks.
That's dumb. Here's what I can understand.
It happens.
No, here is the thing that I can understand.
Not being interested.
No, I could see myself saying, I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to text. If you want to get together in person, let's do that. But I'm not going to spend all day texting and talking to you on the phone.
Absolutely. You're not going to what you doing me to death.
Right. Like, that's not going to happen. But if people aren't getting together in person and they're not texting and they're not talking, like, what exactly is dating now then?
I don't know. Because here's what happens to everything, especially with the internet and the ways that's what I'm saying, getting used to the ways that we communicate being so splintered and how they've affected people. Because what I'm saying is everything's so personalized now.
Right.
You used to have one, even in the early days of the internet, you had one computer. Everybody in the house used it. Now, everyone's phone is a computer.
Right.
So we just decide what we like to talk to more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of just like, there are some people who every time I see them, they're on FaceTime. And then some people are like, don't FaceTime me. I look terrible.
Well, now they have Animoji, so I don't mind FaceTiming all the time now because I can just put my Animoji over it.
So this sounds like me getting hung up on the method, but I mean, that kind of, it doesn't, for me, change the way people talk, but it changes the way for me as the interested party pursuing, or even if we're coming into this how do I establish with you how we're going to be communicating a lot more?
So how do you do that?
I usually just ask now. Like I'm pretty straightforward with stuff like that, but when I approach the same wine bar, I'm probably not going to ask you for your number. I'm probably more likely going to ask you if I can see you again, if that's possible, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. However corny it gets, or however.
Can I see you again?
No. You got to breathe. Can I see you again? But that'll just land this in a place where I'm going to have conversations about, us talking about meeting up somewhere, things like that. Just because now it's like, if I get stuck in a text loop with you, I'm not really feeling this. I don't
know how people do that. I really don't understand. It's almost, to me, and I'm not, trying to insult people your age, but people under 30, people like 30 and under.
That ain't me no more. Since
it's almost like getting together is not a thing. It's like, let's look at each other's Instagrams and text
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, so what's the point? That's cool, but like
this Aunt Tennesha, y'all.
Is the point to eventually get together and get to know each other and spend time together? Or is the point just like, I'm going to like 5 of your pictures, then you like 10 of mine, and then you go back 52 weeks, and then I go back? Like, to me, I'm like, that's not dating. That's just having friends on the internet.
Yeah, so, okay. Remember when I said I don't online date and I'm trying to get used to all these things? I think me not online dating takes me offline. A little more than people my age.
Right.
Again, you're saying, what are we going to do? Like each other's pics? There's a whole culture around that. There's a whole context of like, oh, we liked 5 of each other's pics. One of us got to DM each other. Like, that's a popular joke that you see people say. So there's a whole thing where I'm getting used to things where I'm like, does this mean that I can go jump into DMs now? Is this how we going to be doing this?
She only liked 4. She only liked 4. Let me wait.
Not even that far. Like, I'm just looking at it like, okay, what is the method here? Because like you said, you don't know, I don't know what anything means specifically, so I try to get very specific answers. I always say I seek clarity and hope for closure. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be demanding closure out of this situation, but because there's just a lot of people that are just going to, you approach them, you have some type of interest, and y'all are talking, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the conversation, and then y'all just wind up floating around each other. Mm-hmm. There's never any real bump into each other.
But that's what I think the culture now is. You are indirect. The culture is
exactly
like I've heard people say, it was just like really weird because then he just like called me.
Yes.
And I'm like, why is that weird that somebody is expressing interest in you and wants to hear the sound of your voice in order to get to know you better? Like, it's like, oh my God, he's such a stalker. He called me. And I can't handle that. Like, I really wish that dating could still be in person. Like, that's always my advice to people is put down your phone, because I think that's why communication is bad. Because reading something over text is not the same as hearing it and seeing somebody and seeing how their eyes are moving and seeing what their body language is. And then like we wonder why we can't communicate because we're all trying to figure out exactly what the exact meaning of an emoji is. So you see an emoji like, does that mean that she was high-fiving me or praying for me? I'm not really sure what that emoji means in this context.
So she don't want a dick pic?
Right. And I'm just like, if we just got together in person, we would eliminate half the things that are problems in communication.
I remember hearing something about like most of the communication, even right now, me and you talking to each other is going to be lost in my trying to figure out how to convey this to you. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking English. You understand English.
Right.
But still, how I picture this in my head. So most of the good speakers in the world are people who can translate the clarity of their thought to the speech that comes out their mouth. Mm-hmm. But even that is going to get lost.
Some of it's going to get lost.
Yeah, because I don't know how you perceive things.
Well, it's the game telephone where you'd start and one person says something and then you whisper down the line. Yeah. Even with just two people, between the person like formulating the thought and getting it out of their mouth, it's already not exactly what they were thinking. Now another person is taking it in and they're filtering it with their experiences and their thoughts and they're not so even just two people, you're right, having a conversation, it's difficult to dissect. But when you add all the layers of not seeing the person, not understanding what it is that they mean by certain things, when you see it written, like it makes things so much more complicated in my view.
So for me, that's why I said like, all right, you've noticed, okay, now that I'm direct, fine. There are downfalls to being direct. I don't expect that my directness is always going to lead to a positive result. Mm-hmm. Some people aren't ready for that. Some people don't like that. Some people are turned off by that. Fine. I'm not going to not remain forward because the consequences of not being direct for me are always worse than if I didn't just directly state it.
Right.
So for me, I'm always going to be direct about seeing you again. Okay, I'm going to call you. Now, if you're like very adverse to me calling you, if you're very adverse to all these things, I know right off here, there's a limit to this now.
Right.
Because I don't like that shit.
Right.
So... all right, now I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe we might just be this different and this might not go nowhere right from the bat.
Right.
I've already noticed a behavior, and that's fine. It's not doesn't make you a villain. You're not a bad person now. I'm not less necessarily attracted to you, but now we can't communicate. So there's a big thing here. We got to get on the same page about how this is going to go on. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I can't talk to you on the phone, if I got to work my way up to a phone call, in all of this, like if I approach you with conversation, with cordiality. Like, I'm not going to be like super nice guy. Like, oh my God, you were so beautiful. And I just know, like, I'm not going to do that in your DMs. I'm not going to do that in person. You're stunning, radiant beauty, my Nubian queen. That's not coming out my mouth. So, what I'm saying is if I approach you with all of that, I'm trying to call you, I'm trying to do this in an effort to like, let's meet up. I'm not trying to come to your house.
Right.
And that's not received. I'm fine going, okay, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm out. Can't have every piece of pussy I want. You look good.
It's not all yours.
I tell my friends this all the time. I'm gonna have sex again.
You will never have sex again because you're not having it with me. Never.
I'm gonna get some more pussy. Like that's just. We say there's more fish in the sea, but we don't actually want to go swim to find them. Right. Everybody knows that.
I just want to stay in the spot I'm at. I'm that lazy fish.
So for me, in the same sense, like if I have to act like I don't like you, I don't want you.
The games, it's too much.
There's certain games. Well, that shows me that you're willing to play a game.
Yeah, I can't.
So even if I win at this game, I know there's another game at the end of this.
Yep.
So you like playing games, just games you can win easily. I am not with any of it. So for me, I'm just like this. I've approached, there's no pretense. I'm just like, yeah, I want to talk. I don't want to be on Snapchat talking to you unless, there's I see you at work and you can't really talk right now. So you send me a snap. I'm fine with that.
Right.
That's a little effort on my end where I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can live with this.
Right.
Like, you can't really text me right now. Good. But if I'm just like, all right, you don't like snapping. You don't like when I call you. You don't answer the phone. You kind of give me one word text, or people do this. They text you 3 times, and then they got a limit. You're not going to get a third text. You're not going to get a 4th text out of them.
Well, I get that in terms of, for me, we can send 3 to 5 texts, but if you're not going to ask me out or this happens over and over again, I will stop texting you. Like I will just be like, I'm not returning your text because this is not what I want to do.
I mean, in the sense that you were talking to me and you stopped. Like, you asked me a question, I answered it, asked you another question back. Like, or let's just say we're texting and Game of Thrones comes up or some shit. And you're just like, oh yeah, I love it. My favorite character is
Cersei.
Arya. No, whose favorite character is Cersei? What?
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
And I'm like, well, my favorite character is Tyrion. And you're like, what did you think about season 6? We're having a conversation now, ain't we? If I just don't get an answer. All right, tomorrow I'm going to try again. Maybe the next day. I'm going to talk to you again.
Right. Hey, we were still talking about favorite characters.
No, I'm not going to bring that same thing up. Here's the thing about it. Aaliyah's number 1 song was, if at first you don't succeed,
dust yourself off and try again.
I understand what it means. Like, I'm looking at it like we're talking about gender roles changing. I'm looking at it like I understand that my role necessarily hasn't changed because I'm the one that introduced myself to you. You were interested, so you were talking now. If you gave me your number and all of this stuff and you weren't interested, I'm really confused because I understand giving me your number to get me out your face.
Right.
But you've now talked to me.
We've had a conversation.
Yeah, like we've been talking. And it's like, if I've talked to you on the phone for like an hour, I've never talked to someone on the phone for an hour and been like totally uninterested in talking to them. Right. So that shit be happening. So I'm just looking at it like, okay, we talked on the phone for 3 hours. You were sending me snaps. I've got some pics. We've talked. I know about a little bit about your family, what shows you like. Oh, you like going here to eat. Like, and then all of the sudden.
But Bryan, do you then take the next step, which is saying, hey, let's meet up in person and like go grab a bite at that restaurant you were talking about?
My preference is to do all that there.
Right.
The fact that we've talked about this now is because the conversation has led us here.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, hold on. Okay. You said you like Tyrion? All right. Get dressed. Get dressed. We're going out now. I might say that as a joke, but I'm not like.
See, I actually, low key, I would love it if I'm texting with a guy and the conversation's good and he was like, stop. This is a great conversation and way too much for text.
So here's what
Meet me down the street for ice cream.
Here's the thing. Here's what I do.
I think that's great. Like, it's spontaneous. I would find that endearing and romantic.
Well, I think a lot of the times though, you're not texting. I'm not texting women and they're not at work or something usually. So I can't do that. So usually what winds up happening, and this is where I know like, okay, we're going to go somewhere further than this, is we're having that conversation and I get a phone call. I'm like, oh.
Hi. Hi, Felicia.
Here we go. and she's just like, I got tired of texting. And I'll be like, oh, thank God.
She can talk. She can speak.
And then I hear your voice and you don't sound terrible. Because some people be sounding terrible. You be like, oh, no wonder you like texting.
Your voice a little deeper than I thought.
Yeah.
I think another thing that's happened is
affection has had.
Yeah, like people can't show affection without it seeming weird. Like I actually, joke, if I've been out with a guy, let's say 3-4 times, and He showed up to my job and he was like, I brought you these flowers because I searched on your Instagram and I noticed that you always post about lilies. Yeah. So I brought you these lilies. I wouldn't find that weird. I wouldn't be like, so then he stalked my Instagram and saw that I posted lilies a lot and then showed up with lilies. I'd be like,
he weird. He
the only, you know, when I would think that was weird and he was a creep? If it was somebody I already didn't like. So then anything you do, if I already don't like you, but that's what anything you do is weird and creepy. But if I like, because it's funny, I had a friend, I remember this. She was like, yeah, she had a guy that like sent her roses. And she was like, yeah, it was just like so weird. Like, ew, he sent me roses. And I told her, I said, you know damn well, and I named somebody else I knew she liked and didn't know that well. You know damn well if such and such had sent you roses, we'd be having a different conversation. So it's not about the gesture. It's about, do you already like this person or don't you? Because that's going to determine how you feel about any gesture they do.
So remember when I said there is no real wrong way.
Right.
If she likes you, there's no real wrong. Like, all right, so there's the general guidelines of like, this is how you approach a woman. You say this, you say that. Mm-hmm. And where men get frustrated is, I did all that. Right. And I didn't get the result. We are result-based creatures. We're not going to do too many things that don't get us result for too long. So if you're talking about the 2000s and it's yo pink shirt, by the 10th time yo pink shirt don't turn around, I got to try something else.
Right.
But if yo pink shirt works, I don't care if you tell me it's rude. Not me personally.
Right.
But that's why you're it feels like when you talk to guys, you're talking to a brick wall because it's like, this works for me. Mm-hmm. It works on somebody. So like a lot of women don't understand that, where they're like, why would you approach a woman like that? It works. Well, you're going to do some shit till it don't work. And if it don't work, some niggas just never find out.
I look at it like this. There's a certain type of woman that's going to turn around for your pink shirt, and that's the type of woman you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Because that's what you attract, and that's what you, and if that's what you want, that is okay.
Exactly.
I'm not going to turn around for your pink shirt, but there is a woman that does, and that's the woman for you.
So that's a different level of understanding and perception that people don't get to. So the interest in the conversation that, okay, you've showed me affection, there's hesitance because I think, well, I don't even want to factor age into it, but you know, what's the pace you're at? If we just met and you're coming to my job with something as a token of your affection, I'm fine with that. You popped up on me, though, and I don't know what this means to you. So me, I'm looking at it like I don't want you to feel led on. So I need to understand, is this just affection and you're expecting something else out of this? Or is this how you are? I'm fine. Like, I just know women who just cook. The cooking isn't necessarily mean I want you to be my man. I just like cooking.
Right.
So I come over, you have a meal. I'm looking at it like, does this mean anything? Does not mean anything? And now I'm looking at it, okay, no, that's just what she does.
Right.
Some niggas are looking at it like, oh, I'm getting some pussy tonight. and now they're in a weird situation because usually sometimes I'm not going to cook for you until you've shown me A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. And I've invited, you get what I'm saying? So everybody's not the same. Everybody handles things differently. So I need to know now, what does this mean to you? What does you come into my job with pizza mean for you?
Right.
Like, is it just, I can deal with it being just affection. Does this mean that you think that I'm about to come meet your mom and get on a plane? Because I don't want to hear anything about like, well, I did all this, and I'm just like,
I brought you that pizza that day.
I'm like,
and now you won't meet my mother.
I just like pizza.
You know what I feel that people do though now, that I hate to generalize, but it seems to be the case a lot. It seems to be the case a lot where, and this is the part I don't understand.
Okay.
But it seems like people will get upset about something like, so he just like showed up to my job with blah, 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 blah. But like sex is really casual, but everything else is a big deal. This is the person you had sex with 2 days ago very casually, but now it's weird that they showed up to your job bringing you food. I don't understand like this new culture of like sex is casual, but a phone call is a big deal and showing up to somewhere is a big deal. And that to me is backwards as hell. And I am saying, actually, y'all need to stop that. That's really dumb because you throw around your body, but yet everything else is this intimate thing and people can't pierce these spaces. And but it wasn't sacred to like give your body up. And I'm not saying anything about who you choose to have sex with or why. But I'm just saying, like, let's reconsider what's intimate. To me, a phone call is not necessarily an intimate act, and I'm not going to be upset if somebody calls me or shows up somewhere to where I'm at.
I'm not just fucking anybody.
Right. You know? So it's like, that to me is a contradiction. So don't throw that around and then be like, oh my God, like she called me, or oh my God, he had the nerve to show up. Like, that's dumb to me. Stop.
Well, this is why I said, again, everything I'm saying is all relative. Like, the what does this mean to you? Mm-hmm. If we haven't had sex and you've done this for me, I need to know where you're coming from, because I'm going to now be a little more hesitant to have sex with you. The woman that does that to me, and like we might have been on a couple dates, she's got something in her head. It may just be affection, but there's something that made her do this. I know she didn't just do this. Mm-hmm. So where is this coming from? Again, like the same thing. Cooking is like a labor of love and things like that. So what do all these things mean for you? Why are you doing this? This is why I'm trying to talk about things like, all right, how do I get a conversation with you? Mm-hmm. If I'm calling you and you don't call me back at all right, let me try texting you. All right, Instagram? None of that. So where is your frame of reference for how things work? People have like personalized things, and people have different ways that they respond to things and different ideas about things, and I'm fine with all of that, and I'm also willing to discuss all of those things. But when it comes to things, I don't want anyone to feel manipulated by me about some things that we did or didn't do, or just like where things went. And I also don't want to be out here just like confused by everyone because they don't have the same frame of reference as me.
Right.
So I'm just looking at it like, all right, so does that mean blank? And you can tell me no. And I'm like, fine. I just wanted to know because I've met the girl who that means she's ready. Right. And I've met the girl who's like, oh no, I'm just nice.
Right.
And I've met the girl who's done it because she's got an angle that she's trying to get at with me. She thinks I'm the one, and she's going to make sure that no other, like she's in competition with all these other women in her head for me. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I need to have a conversation about all this. And if we start having sex, it's a pattern. And I've just watched how sex changes people's expectations of things. I've watched how sex has like rekindled things for people. It's happened to me. And I'm just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, if I have sex with you, we go together. Just as a general rule. But I say that up front. Like, I say that pretty quickly. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, casual sex is its own topic, and casual sex happens. I'm like, I get it. I'm not against anyone's idea of it, but yeah, let's at least have a conversation about it in terms of what that means with me. Because I'm not trying to wake up 2 years from now and you've had a completely different idea about what's been happening than I have. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. Is that what you thought that meant?
Wait, you think we're engaged?
You've wasted what?
Oh, tell us about Bryan.
Well, I mean,
not you, Bryan, but Bryan the series.
Bryan. Bryan started out as the Black Seinfeld, where there is a show that's not really have any thorough line through arcs, and there's no
just normal activity.
Just normal activity. Yeah. Bryan, the show about a I hate saying this, up and coming comedian as he struggles through season 1 being not even just dating, but just the things, the situations that happen when you're having sex with people out in the field. You're done with your girlfriend. So the first episode, Bryan gets broken up with his girlfriend. He gets called a fuckboy. He is not totally sure what that even means and what would make him be called that. So there's an exploration into that. From there, he's out here. He's out here in New York. He's out here in Brooklyn. He's just talking to different girls. Crazy situations happen. And we follow that season 1. Season 1 is on YouTube now, at Bryan the Series, on Instagram, BRIAN the series. Instagram the same. That was the Instagram. I'm sorry. YouTube the same thing. Twitter the same thing.
Is a lot of Bryan based on your life and the life of the writers?
No. No, they're all like kind of fresh situations. So the episodes you've seen, of course, they're just kind of what would happen if.
Got it.
Bryan isn't even necessarily me, Bryan Thompson, that day. It's not like what happened to me. It's not what I would do. It's kind of like we named it Bryan the same way Martin is Martin, but he's not Martin Lawrence.
I'm going to end up getting them confused. So every time I see something on the show, I'm like, Bryan, did that happen to you? Because on the show, that Bryan?
You know what's funny? Will is Will Smith in The Fresh Prince, but everyone knows he didn't live in Bel Air. Like, nobody acts like Will Smith is from Bel Air.
But you happen to already live in Brooklyn, so...
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's not a show about me in Philly. I get it. No, they're just scenario-based. They're conversations that we said we weren't going to teach a lesson on. There's no, like, we're showing you how to be this. So if it's about, like, black nationalism and pride, we're not going to sit here and tell you what to do to be woke. We're going to present the situation to you, and this is just how these characters reacted to it. Mm-hmm. There's short-sightedness. There's stupidity. There's, thoughtfulness. There's observations. There's, I wish I would have did it differently, but that's how things go. Mm-hmm. When you're in the middle of it, that's what we're showing you. It's just the middle of a situation. What happens? So it didn't necessarily have to be things I went through. Some of the things I think in the later seasons probably will be more reflective of me, Sean and Jordan, the other creators and the writers, personal lives, because I think that'll just be a better place to start.
Yeah.
But we just got to get there first.
Nice. For those of you who haven't checked out Bryan, it's really funny. Like, it's hilarious. Just the situations that he manages to get himself into.
It's all short-sightedness.
Are pretty funny, and I think it's a good thing to watch with friends and have some discussion around it.
Ooh. What Bryan online dated. That might be my cautionary tale too.
Oh, yes.
But that episode was about online dating.
Yes, more so I remember that.
The episode.
Okay, there is an episode where Bryan is online dating and he meets somebody that he didn't expect to meet on an app. So check that out. I think, was that episode 2 or 3 on season 1?
It's 3.
So what's next for you, Bryan?
Just more comedy. I've got a lot of thoughts that I have about turning 30 that I'm about to turn into jokes.
Where do you perform?
Usually New York Comedy.
Next to the wine bar, right?
where I met you?
Where you met me drinking the Malbec.
And you had that Cheerio shirt on?
Yes. This is what I wear out tonight.
This is what we would tell our friends. Like, I met her and she was just stunning in this Cheerio shirt. And I had no choice. I knew right then that she was going to be the woman of my dreams.
Yo, one day I'm going to walk into a bar with this on and somebody is going to be like, I've been waiting for that woman to wear that shirt.
Next would be, everything that's going on with Bryan is really next for me.
So can people reach you personally on your Instagram?
You can email me. No. It's _ because that's important. Bryan Thompson. I'm Bryan with a Y, Bryan THOMPSON. Oh, I found a way to say that in a rhythm. I never said that. PSON. Bryan Thompson. That's what I am on everything. Bryan Thompson on Facebook. For those who still have it, Bryan Thompson on Twitter. I think the same underscore. And Bryan Thompson on Instagram. Bryan the series with an I. Bryan Thompson with a Y. I was born as Y.
I identify as Y, Bryan with a Y.
I was born a Y, but I identify as I.
Hey, however you see yourself, it's fine. Bryan, thank you for spreading all your wisdom.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you called it wisdom. I call it foolishness.
You got some nice little 30-year-old wisdom there.
Oh,
you do. Yes. Bryan, you are 30. Love it. Accept it and love it. Please reach out to me at...
I'm 20 done. That's my new... I'm 20 done.
It's the 10th anniversary of my 20th birthday.
My grandmom used to say, I'm 40 plus. 40 plus some more.
Well, you guys please reach out to me at Tennesha Wood on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and let me know what you think of today's show. And until next time, wish me love. Hello again, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of DRL. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes and leave a rating and also write a review. And don't forget to share with your friends and tell them all about DRL. Thank you so much for supporting.